GOP lawmakers tend to cherry pick incidents where they decide to support cops. Now, if there's an unarmed person running away from cops who gets shot and killed in the back, then you should support police. However, when it comes to Capitol Police, who had to ward off violent rioters on January 6th, maybe we shouldn't support those police. At least that's what Republican lawmakers were communicating to the rest of the country in a House bill meant to at least honor the Capitol Police officers who bore the brunt of the riots that day. The House passed legislation to award Congressional Gold Medals, one of the highest civilian honors, to police officers who defended the Capitol during the violent January 6th insurrection. Lawmakers handily passed the legislation, but there is a caveat. Members of both parties supported it, 406 to 21, with all the voters in opposition coming from conservative Republicans. That's weird. I thought that they supported police. You know, they have difficult jobs. They put their lives on the line. It's a very risky profession to engage in. You know, but if honoring medals to police means accepting the brutal reality of what happened that day, maybe we don't want to support the police. Now, the resolution names 3 specific police officers: Brian Sicknick and Howard Liebengood of the Capitol Police and Jeffrey Smith of the Metropolitan Police, who died in the days after they were on duty at the Capitol on January 6th. It also highlights the heroism of then Officer Eugene Goodman. Goodman was shown on a video captured by a reporter luring the mob away from the Senate chamber in a move that helped former Vice President Mike Pence and senators escape to safety. How dare he? Should definitely not be honored, according to Republican lawmakers, and I want to name them. So Republicans who voted against the bill were Representatives Tom Massey, Andy Biggs, Lauren Boebert. Oh, Lauren Boebert's in there. Michael Cloud, Andrew Clyde, Warren Davidson, Matt Gaetz, shocker there, Louis Gohmert, Bob Good, Paul Gosar, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, I mean, just a group of lovely individuals. We have Andy Harris, Jody Heiss, Mary Miller, Barry Moore, Ralph Norman, Ralph Norman, Scott Perry, John Rose, Matt Rosendale, and Chip Roy. And let's not forget Greg Stube from Florida. So
I already have.
All of these Republican lawmakers, you know, when it comes to shooting and killing unarmed people, they'll definitely defend the cops.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, you know, honoring cops who did their part and paid a price during those riots, no medal for you.
I was surprised to not see Madison Cawthorn on that list. Look at him.
I mean, yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's a good point. But normally he would be a part of that group, and yeah, it's weird that people like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Greene didn't want to honor these cops who stood against the Antifa super soldiers on January 6th as leftists swarmed through the building. Weird. So like they want to pretend that it was the left or it was provocateurs or whatever, but they're certainly voting like they know who was in that group and that they need to protect them and not imply that they get how dangerous it was and everything. I will say in general terms, the government showmanship of cops are the best and everything, I'm almost universally opposed to that. In this particular case, it's a couple of cops who did something incredibly brave. It's amazing that they could justify standing against it, just saying it's too partisan or whatever. Like, you know what you're doing.
Well, apparently they have a very specific reason for why they're against this, and it's because of the terminology used, right? So let's go to Representative Thomas Massey, who says, quote, "I think if we call that an insurrection, it could have a bearing on their case that I don't think would be good. If they just wanted to give the police recognition, they could have done it without trying to make it partisan, without sticking that in there." So he has a problem with the use of insurrection in the legislation.
He has more of a problem with it than with the actual insurrection, oddly enough.
That's exactly right, because the Republican Party doesn't want to take responsibility for what they aided and abetted, what they enabled, what they refused to speak out against. And hey, midterm elections are coming up, right? We don't want that riot to be in any way attached to us, except it is. You have people storming the Capitol chanting "Hang Mike Pence" right after a Trump speech encouraging them to do so, not to chant "Hang Mike Pence," but you get what I'm saying, like to go fight like hell.
Yeah.
And it was about overturning the results of the election.
Yeah, and by the way, Trump might not have said "hang Mike Pence," that's true, but he continually said, oh, well, you know, if Mike Pence does what he needs to do, the election will go the other way. It was totally wrong. Totally untrue. Mike Pence never had any ability to change the outcome, but Trump spent literally weeks telling them that if Mike Pence doesn't solve it, it's on him. He could solve it, he's just choosing not to do so.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.